Welcome back to the Table Rush Talk Show, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal growth. I'm your host, Misha Zvagansoff, and today we're cutting through the noise with the coolest guy in SEO, Kris Reid. He's here to reveal how real estate professionals can build authority, generate high-quality leads, and close more deals without wasting money on ads that don't work. If you want a predictable way to grow your business, you won't want to miss this. Let's get into it. Kris, welcome to the show.
Dude, what an introduction. I love it.
You like that?
Yeah, I couldn't have read it better.
You know what? That's why I've got a top-rated podcast. It's what I do.
Good man.
So really quick, you help. Well, tell me what you do in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, I mean, we primarily focus on residential real estate agents, but we work with all sorts of people in real estate, helping them grow their business through building referral relationships and meaningful connections to sell more houses or sell whatever they sell.
And then I know you're based in, where are you based?
I'm in Valencia in Spain.
Amazing.
It's really nice.
Hey, is your wife Spanish?
No, my wife is Vietnamese. We've spent the last very long time living in Saigon in Vietnam. And before I was married, I used to live in Europe, and I always wanted to move back. And I wanted to move to Barcelona, and I took my wife on a recon visit a couple of years ago. And she went, "I'm not moving from one big city to another." I went, "Well, I don't really care where we move." She picked Valencia. Neither of us had ever been here, and it was a fantastic decision. It's really beautiful city.
Wow. And then we'll get back into what you do, but it's obviously afforded you the ability to work remotely.
Oh, dude, I absolutely love. I can pick up my laptop and I can work anywhere in the world. I love that. I make USD, which is a pretty nice currency to have, even though it just surpassed the euro, which hell yeah, it's good for me. That's that's we buy stuff very well.
Yeah. What do you and your wife both speak Spanish then, or is she native Taiwanese, or am I saying that right?
In Vietnamese, she's native Vietnamese. Yeah. No, both of us are struggling our way through learning. It has actually been quite a little bit more difficult than we anticipated, but we're fine. Like, I mean, living in the city and going to a restaurant and things like that is fine. Dealing with government stuff can get a little bit tricky. It's fine when people write to you because you can use translations, but it's like when the phone rings, you're like, "Oh my God, what are they going to say?"
Yeah, and then how old are your kids? Yeah. How old are your kids?
12, 10, 6, and 3.
Wow, 12, 10, 6, and 3. And I'm guessing the older ones were when did you end up in
So we've been here coming up on 2 years. I was their Spanish teacher before we left. So we used to go through some textbooks, and I just had to be a few pages ahead of them to keep teaching Spanish. But now they're light years ahead of me because they use it every day in school. They go to a bilingual school that's half English and half Spanish. Although in Valencia there's also Valenciano, so they have a third language. But most places in Spain have a third language. And but yeah, just using it every day, they've got so much better. Where I'm usually on Zoom and speaking to someone in English.
So your wife is saying we're not moving again. In hindsight, would you expat to Spain again?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like it's Spain's really lovely. The family culture is just so nice. I was having a few beers with a few friends on the weekend. They're all fathers as well and all expats. And that's what we're talking about. Like, the teenagers here, like I'm from Australia, and if you see a bunch of teenagers around, you're like, they're going to cause trouble. We're here, and they're like, "Oh, well, sorry, I'll get out of your way." They're like really polite and nice. It's people spend a lot of time with their parents, and it's a great culture. Like, America's the best place in the world if you want to make money. Like that's why it's got a big, strong economy, and that's why I do business in the US. But, I think other countries like Spain, they do put family first. They're rich enough. They certainly aren't as rich as Americans on average, and they don't work as hard as Americans on average. But lots of people have a second or third home, one on the beach, one in the mountains. Everyone takes, like, August shuts down. Like, there's nothing to be done in August. The whole country takes the month off. Like, it's fantastic.
That's amazing. Well, thanks for diving into that a little bit. That's awesome. Leads to the next question. Your core base, and I think you referenced it, your core customer base is America?
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Asia for a very long time, and Southeast Asia, where economies are growing dramatically, but it's, not a great place to do business unless you're a factory or something, shipping stuff to the West. And, being a native English speaker, it's nice to work in native English speaking countries. And, like, in all honesty, Australians and British people and even New Zealanders, the markets are small and they're not as entrepreneurial. Like, it's, I've always been on the marketing side of things, which is an investment in businesses. And so people need to, like, want to invest in their business. And Americans just want to grow their business and invest in stuff way more. And so it's, like, way easier to do business than in the US, than even as an Australian, than it is to do it in Australia, I find.
That is awesome. What a cool insight. I never thought about that, or thought of it in those terms, that, American is very entrepreneurial, obviously, or America. We're obsessed with working long hours and making a lot of money, which has its positives and negatives. You might burn out more. You definitely don't get a month off. But that, if you start a business in America, realistically, you want to grow it. You want to help a lot of people, serve a lot of people. If you're a realtor, you want to, help people sell their houses, get into their houses. And so if they want to grow, we're more inclined to invest in marketing.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I've always found the US is a fantastic place to do business, and doing it from outside of the US makes life a whole lot cheaper.
Right? The margin, the arbitrage. So is American, go ahead. Sorry, go.
Just for cost of living in other places is a lot. I go and visit America, and from time to time I just went to a conference in Miami, and I'm like, holy crap, you buy a beer, it's like eye-watering. And then they want a 25% tip on it. You're like, Jersey.
So I have not been paying attention to the dollar, and I think you referenced it. So the dollar is strong right now. So your American dollars are going a lot further in Spain, wherever you're traveling. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, for sure. Like, historically, the euro's always been worth significantly more than the US dollar. But I saw a thing that just ticked to 98 cents. Cost you 98 cents to buy a euro. Like,
and it used to be a $1.50, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
like, that's a huge reduction. And so, if you got USD, it's a great time to be buying euros. Yeah.
Awesome. I need to go look at some European real estate. Go check out Portugal, Spain. Holy mackerel. Maybe
real estate, for one, is so much more affordable in Spain. Like, there's beaches near where I live. You can get beachfront property for like $100,000. It's like, yeah.
Wow. What's the weather? Is it fairly temperate?
It's really nice. It's very, very sunny. I'll have to do a conversion right now because I don't know what it is in sunny Fahrenheit. But, like, right now it's 64 degrees. That's not bad. It's the middle of winter. It's the coldest month of the year. That's not too bad, right?
4 p.m. where you are right now, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in last week we had t-shirt weather. Like, it was really, really warm. So, yeah, there's about 6 weeks in the year it's a bit too hot, and about 6 weeks that it's a bit too cold. But the rest of the year it's really beautiful.
That's amazing. I'm in Encinitas, California, which is basically San Diego. It sounds like the weather's exactly the same there. So that's good. You are an SEO specialist, search engine optimization specialist. You also are a podcast genius, or so it seems. You've got your icons of real estate. You've got a podcast framework. You're doing a bunch of stuff with podcasts for realtors. I'm going to let you take it. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to talk more about SEO?
Sure, man. So we built the number one real estate podcast network on the planet, not just in the US. And I wish I was a business genius and had put this together, but it just kind of fell together. So, I started off doing digital marketing, SEO, and I was pretty good at it. And I always liked the phrase, riches are in the niches, even though it's pronounced niches, but we'll go American for you. And I just could never pick a niche, right? Because I'm like, man, I can do this for anyone. You can do it for anyone. It's the same thing. And there was this one real estate person that we're working with, and her business just went phenomenal. Like the first year she was with us, she did $53 million in production, which means she sold $53 million worth of property, right?
Yep.
Next year she did 158. Next year she did 612. The year after that, she did $1,066 million. You're like, she's clearly not just the work we were doing. She's an incredible businesswoman. But I was like, holy cow, this real estate game, that's where the money's at. Make that my niche. And, SEO is kind of expensive. It takes a long time to get results, and the average real estate agent can't afford us. And so we can only work with top tier agents. And so we built our brand, the Icons of Real Estate, to do that, is to build relationships with the icons of real estate, with the top producers. And it worked freaking well. It's like you're talking to the best in the business, and they're asking about your services, and they become clients. And then it was actually someone that was a guest on a show. He's like, man, I had such a good time being on a show. You reckon you could produce a podcast for us? His name's Matthias Bakers. He's a probate realtor in Beverly Hills. And guess we already do that. We have all the infrastructure set up. And we did that. And then another client came along and said, hey, can you do that for us? And we're like, I guess we can. And then, well, man, this is like so much easier to do, and so much easier to manage, and so much easier to sell. Like, and we've really, it's taken away our whole business, and it grows like, so a new client came in about 30 minutes ago. It's so easy to sell, and it's so easy it's easy for us to produce because we've got a framework for it. And it's really easy for us to help our clients make money, because that's the whole thing, is like you're not doing it for fun. You're doing it to make money. And one of the reasons that we focus on real estate and we teach our clients is that it's about building referral partnerships. And this really comes down to a lot of businesses, but especially in residential real estate, like some crazy statistic, like 87% of residential real estate transactions in the US are done by referrals, meaning someone sends you that lead. So it's like you can buy leads from Zillow or Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever, but that's 13%. Like you want to go after that 87%, right? And so build those referral partnerships. And, if you're an agent and your best referrals are coming from mortgage brokers or title companies or, builders or pool guys, whatever the heck it is, then have a podcast and invite those people on your podcast. You imagine, 52 weeks a year, you're doing 52 episodes. There's 52 potential referral partners. Imagine if only 10% of them start sending you business. You're going to kick the crap out of, any other local person. And that's before you're doing anything with your podcast. That's before you're making any social snippets, before you're doing any SEO, before a single person even listens to it, before you send out newsletter content. All of that is a bonus, right? That's what we say to do. That's just like gravy. It's fantastic. But you can have referral partnerships that are going to pay for your whole podcast production, and then the rest is free. Happy days.
So go back to the beginning of your story there. You're doing the icons of real estate. You're doing all this work. One of your clients, you said it was a trust attorney or something, asked you.
Probate is basically when someone dies and they leave you a house and they have to sell that house for you.
Cool. And so that attorney said, "Hey, start a podcast for me," or what did they do?
He just enjoyed being a guest on our podcast, and he's like, I wanted to do a podcast. Can you produce one for me? And so we started producing it, and then a second person came and asked us to do it too, and we're like, okay, sure. And like one of the difficulties with SEO is you're doing lots of different things. There's technical stuff you're doing, you're writing content, you're configuring the website. There's lots of black magic. And it gets hard to manage staff because, well, they can hide in the darkness as well. But it's hard to explain that to a client too. Like sometimes you're doing all this stuff in the back end and there's nothing for them to see. And so, they especially if they're a new client, they can be like, oh, what'd you do this month? Like I did all this stuff in the back end, but it's technical and you don't understand it. And so it's hard for them to feel good about it. Where with podcasting, it's very easy to show them, well, this is the results. And it's very instant gratification. So it's a way easier sell too. I like that a lot.
Instant gratification. I love it. So walk me through how you are serving your realtors. You have different levels then? You do like full on, we'll manage your calendar. All you have to do is show up to, we'll get your thing started and off the ground, and then you take over from there, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so we have we have a promise to make podcasting accessible to everyone. So we have our basic products, some like $250 a month. It's very, very affordable. And that's with us. That's with you booking the guests, which is a right pain in the butt. I'll give you that. And then we go down to, my camera keeps stopping for some reason. I'm just playing with it to make it pop back on.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, then we have the bells and whistles where we do absolutely everything. We do the guest coordination, the guest booking, social media snippets, SEO, the works. But yeah, and then everything in between. Some people like to book the guests themselves. I wouldn't recommend it. Booking guests is a right pain in the butt.
Yeah.
One of the hard things with, especially real estate agents, right, is they're chasing their next commission. They don't have a salary. They got no money coming in next month unless they sell more houses. And so that's what they're chasing. If someone calls them to go and see a house, they're going to go and take that call. And so they'll stand you up if you've got a podcast recording. Which is rightly so. It's like, I might make 30 grand if I go and see this guy, or I can spend an hour with you. Yeah, I'm going to take the 30 grand. Right. So trying to coordinate two people that are doing that can be a little bit troublesome.
So, well, let's talk about the full service then. Your podcast, a realtor comes to you and says, hey, I love this concept. I want to start a podcast. I understand that by me having a podcast, I'm reaching out to my favorite people that I know, and then I'm interviewing them on my podcast, and we're developing a relationship. My brain, I've always thought,
So the first thing we do is what you're getting. Yeah. Talk about referral partnerships, but then also talk about who's your ideal audience, which is generally the people buying and selling houses. And the beauty of this is we're saying, you don't have to be Joe Rogan. You don't need 1 million people downloading your episode. If you have 10 people listen, because it's so niche, the more niche it can be, the better, right? If you're on the south side of Chicago, who's listening to a real estate, podcast from the south side of Chicago? Someone that wants to buy a freaking house there, right? It's it's very niche. And so if 10 people listen to it, 3 reach out and 1 buys a house, it's way worth doing it. And so, we've got people that live in real estate agents that work in estates, and that estate might only have, a couple thousand houses, but it's you're making content that's just speaking to that tiny little audience. You don't need to sell that many houses. The average agent sells 2 or 3 houses a year. So small, we work people that are generally doing a bit better than that. But that's what it's going to help you do. And the more you can niche down your content, well, the more it's going to resonate with those exact people. And then it even compounds too with SEO, because someone that is searching for, how to buy a house in one suburb or house prices here or whatever, that's the content that you've just made that's perfect for them.
So give me some examples of some niche podcasts that you've helped people start that are converting, that are finding buyers and or listings for them. And I guess we've got two things. We've got they're interviewing referral sources as well as it's top of funnel. And when I say top of funnel, for any realtor listening or anybody who's not familiar with that lingo, is somebody's finding that podcast and now they've become a lead, top of funnel lead, and they filter their way down. Maybe they opt into something or they like your content. They like the episode. You've got a call to action at the end of the episode and they take action on that call to action. Yes, is that what we're talking about here?
And indeed, one that springs to mind, the lady's name is Shay Spritz, and she's somewhere like or Nebraska, one of those Middle East states in some small little town. She's not a big town, and her podcast is called the Real Mums Podcast because she's a working mum in real estate, and that's who she wants to connect to. And she's a little bit different because she doesn't want to just sell houses. She wants to attract agents to her organization. So she works with a brokerage that, rewards people for helping bring other agents to that brokerage. And that's one of the foundations that she wants to do. And so who does she want to talk to? People that are just like her. She wants people that are about her level of production, that, are mums that are around her age bracket with kids around the same way, because then they can just really relate. She doesn't want to speak to someone in New York City. She wants to seek someone that's in middle America living in a small country town as well, because then they can relate really, really well. And so she's got that avenue from her podcast, but also we do regular masterminds together with our clients. And she was telling us that she got into a room with a builder, and it was something like 230 units or something. There was this big estate that was doing. She's like, I haven't got the deal yet, but the only reason I got in that room is because I had that guy on my podcast. And it's like, this is a life change. Like, the average agent is selling 2 or 3 houses a year. She's like, I have an opportunity here to perhaps get 230 deals. It's like that is freaking life changing, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's a good example, I think.
Do you that's great. Do you remember who that interview was, that person's name?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
She just told us that off the cuffs.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at her podcast, and so she's got a ton of episodes. She's interviewing a ton of people. So if any realtors out there listening to this, go to...
And if you're a mom and you want to grow your business, contact Shay Spritz. She's fantastic.
Yes. Where's my back arrow here? Darn it. There we go. The Real Moms Podcast, Shay Spritz. Spitz, SHAESPITZ. Cool. So she's using it as a way to find realtors and or moms who maybe want to be a realtor. And so she can bring them into the network, a little MLM-ish.
Yeah, I mean, that is how a few real estate brokerages work. And actually, I mean, it sounds a little bit MLM-ish, but then you're like, the problem is with most MLMs is they got crappy products, and then you recruit someone but can't sell anything. So it's like, hey, Misha, you want to come and sell my crappy product and you're not a trained salesperson? Where the difference with on the real estate side of things is, well, they can have a really good product, and the product is people selling a house anyway. It's like what you're selling. Plus, you bring on professional salespeople, and they know how to do that. You have it. So it can work really, really well.
Oh, absolutely. I did not mean MLM as a negative at all, actually. And I'm looking at EXP Realty, and I know, I'm not sure if they still are, but for a while they were like the hot real estate office. Their model's super good, their tech's super good. And so I know if you could get under the right person, who sounds like Shay is, like that's a springboard to success.
And the EXP is the fastest growing real estate company in the history of real estate. They have freaking massive, 87,000 agents.
Yeah.
It's a new model of real estate, right? It's like a cloud brokerage. It's, kind of like Airbnb versus Hilton, and there's a lot of copycats now, LPT's one, the others right now, because they're all a whole lot smaller.
Yeah.
But you look at Keller Williams. Like, Keller Williams is the biggest real estate brokerage in the world. Think about 180,000 agents. Like, You're doing something right. You got 180,000 agents, but they also got a 40-year head start on the speed, so they come fast.
Yeah. I was in real estate and mortgage. I was a mortgage loan officer for 15 years. Super good at it from 2001 until 2016 or something like that, and crushed it through the ups and downs. So I was really gifted at it. I built telemarketing teams, lots of outbound flyers. Yeah, there was so many ways there's just in real estate and mortgage. I mean, there's almost zero barrier to entry, which is scary. I mean, you have to take a test, but really
not much. Yeah.
Not much. Yeah. And it's funny. I was a commodities broker first. My first real sales job was as a commodities broker. You need to get your series, believe it's your series 3 or something like that. I can't remember what it is. Loan officers need a series 7. And then your insurance license. And that is a gnarly test, right? Like people spend months and years trying to pass that test. Series 3, generally speaking, pretty easy. But if you aced it, that was a bad sign, actually. So they're like, you think too much and are too smart to make the sales calls to be successful. So they're like, and it's kind of the same with the real estate and the mortgages. Super smart people. Not to say you don't want to be smart. I'm super smart, but we can tend to overthink the process of sales, right? Where it's like, hey, you need to have contact with people if you want to get loans, or you want to help buyers, or you want to help sellers. There's no way around it. And so how do you have contact with people? Well, you find a niche you want to work with, and then you start dialing, or you start knocking on those doors, or you start sending them information, or you start a podcast and get those people on your damn podcast.
That sounds really hard. I'm quite glad when I was a young man, my father pushed me into like door-to-door sales. Yeah, it was tough and I was crap at it, but I think it's a good experience. It teaches you a lot.
It really does. It really does. Yeah, learning rejection, getting the no's till you get the yes, and it's just how it works. Anybody listening or watching right now has sales experience. If you're doing high volume transactions, I don't. The long sales cycle, I don't understand that game. Right? I'm like, I need to be able to do 20 transactions a month, or 10 transactions.
I got a friend that sells fiber optics to banks. It's like the sales cycle is like 5 years or something. It's like,
I could not pay attention that long. Yeah, right? Like, how do you add value for that long till they finally say yes? Like, I don't get it.
I just keep calling banks. Hey, you want some fiber?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a little faster this week. Come on. Oh my gosh. So where do I want to go with this? Are you dealing with new agents and they're like, all right, I want to launch, I want to get be successful as fast as possible? This to me clearly, like if I was starting as a real estate agent, and I tell agents this all the time because I still know a ton of people in the business, but I'm like, what I would do is I would start a podcast and I would interview local businesses. If I was a realtor, and I would just go interview local businesses. You interview enough local businesses owners, 1 out of 10 is probably going to be buying and or selling a property within the next couple of months. You've got reasons to talk to them. You reach out to them to invite them on your podcast. You've got to schedule the date. You've got to do the interview, post-interview, assuming you're doing any sort of newsletter. You're like, hey, the newsletter's going live. Hey, here's some clips I'm just about to publish. I mean, you've got all these touch points to keep somebody happy and excited. But go ahead. I could riff on that, but I love the idea of being like, hey, I'm going to interview pool guys, right? It's going to be the local pool guy podcast. And so you're
if you work in a state, right, the pool guy knows who's selling houses. They know, the Joneses they're looking at selling. It's all about building those relationships. But generally, I mean, one of the sales, so things that we like to say is, we don't make successful real estate agents. We make successful real estate agents more successful. If you can't sell a house, like, a podcast's not going to help you, really. You need to be able to build relationships. We can help get you in front of the right people, but you need to know what you're doing. So if you just got your license today, it's probably not the first thing I'd do. If you want to expand your business, you grow your team, like it's kind of a next level thing. Generally, the people that we work with have been in the industry for some time, doing 10 plus million in production. So something like that is what I'd say. I like new agents and that is a problem. Being a new agent is you can get just flooded, because with real estate, everyone lives in a house. Like if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a house. It's like, it's not like you're selling people things that they don't want or don't need. It's different like that. And all of the different channels, they work. You can knock on doors, you can call people. It's just doing it, which is hard. And in reality, that is why a brokerage like EXP is very good too, because you then have a sponsor that is financially incentivized to help you succeed, which, like, you find the right sponsor, you can find a crappy sponsor and then they don't help you, which, that happens. But if you're smart and you look out and you find the right person, then you can find someone ideally in your local area that's where you want to be in a few years, and they're financially incentivized to help you succeed. And like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah. So, well, I would just say too, a quick blurb on that. If I was a new agent, when I got started in home loans, I was very lucky to join a successful team. And I just gave a big percentage of my commissions to learn everything I could. The first year, they were underpaid because they gave me so much time, because I was just sponging it up, and there's a lot of moving parts in home loans. But year 2, that's when they had their success, the team that sponsored me, or however you want to say it. And then I broke off on my own. But as a new agent or a new loan officer, I would absolutely look in my local area, find the most successful team I could, or teams, and I would be like, I want to work for you. I'll empty your trash. What do I need to do?
Yep.
And I'll give you
100%. 100%. I totally agree with that. And like, even if you are giving them a good chunk of your commission, you're making more sales. Like, you can have 100% of your commission. If you don't make any sales, keep it all.
Oh my gosh. I used to say that all the time back in the day. I was like, you could have 100% of nothing or 50% of a lot. Like, make your choice. But people can worry about what they're not going to get. They're like, well, what about that 50% I'm not going to get? And it's like, well, okay, go do nothing. Anyway, we could go on and on about that, but let's talk about your producing podcasts for real estate agents, generally successful ones that want to level up, or they want to, sounds like, I'm not sure if Shay was the person, but you had a client who parabolic curve, like it helped them a 10x their business in effect over a 3-year time frame.
That lady's name is Avery Carl. She's with the Short Term Shop, and she actually has multiple podcasts. She has one for every area that she deals with. Like, I mean, you're doing $1 billion in production, like that, a lot of properties, and she's in Tennessee too. I don't know what the average house price is, but it's not that high. Like, that's a lot of houses, and so she's also in Northern Florida and in a few other parts. But, if you Google her name, like, there's podcasts coming out of the wazoo. She guests a lot. She's a freaking celebrity. And I mean, you listen to her and she's super humble. She's super nice. The nicest woman you can meet. But clearly very, very savvy.
What's her name again?
Avery Carl.
Avery Carl. K-A-R-L or C-A-R-L?
It's D-A-R-L. The Short Term Shop. Yeah, if you Google Avery Carl podcast, you'll see loads. And that's a testament of just how, like, what her main business is teaching people how to run Airbnbs, and she'll sell them in the house, which is pretty clever, right? And her husband runs their Airbnb empire, and he's really good at it. He's got in their Facebook group, and he's always sharing, how much they make per month, and this and that to be a better host and whatnot. And then, they teach you how to do it. And, they have paid trainings and stuff like that. But they'll sell you the house, and they sell a bucket load of houses. And so then they have all the podcasts about different areas, how to pick your house, how to do this, how to be a host, freaking super clever. Her and her husband are, really fantastic entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. I found her podcast. The short-term show, Avery Carl, sounds like she's got other ones, but this is a big one. She's got 420 reviews, which is amazing. That means something's going right over there when you've got a podcast with 4.9 stars and 420 reviews on Apple. That is, wow, that's awesome. Okay, so you're doing full production for a successful realtor who maybe wants to be on that parabolic curve. I want to 10x my business over 3 years, and I want to use podcasting. It's so much fun. I love podcasting, but use that as a tool. How are you finding their clients? Not their clients. How are you finding their guests?
Just as an example of how useful podcasting is, like I was on a podcast years ago, Jake and Gino, they're multifamily guys. They've got a pretty big podcast. I haven't spoken to them in like 3 years, and I was on their podcast like last month, and it was like we're friends. It's like I've never met them in person, and I haven't even spoken to them in years. But when you're like jamming with someone for an hour or so, it's like, hey, buddy, it was like catching up. It was great. And now we're doing some business together. It's a really fun way to grow your business. But your question was, how do we find guests? Oh my word. That's why my wife works till 2 a.m. in the morning. She's the operations of the business. So generally you have like two types of entrepreneurs, right? Sales entrepreneurs, the crappy at operations. That's me. Operators that are crappy at sales. That's my wife. Yeah, perfect marriage. But it's difficult, because the higher the profile guest you want, the harder they are to get. The more niche specific you want, the harder they are to find. But it's also just being creative too. Like, I just drink a glass of wine while my wife waffles on about guests and booking guests. So I'll just tell you a few anecdotes. But, like one client was wants to be the mayor of their local town. And we work with lots of agents that are in small towns. And so you want to be the guy that everyone knows. And what's better than, having your face on a stupid billboard or a bus seat that no one cares about is providing content that's useful. And so that agent is just interviewing all the restaurateurs from the big restaurants and it's like, great. Because then that restaurant has stuff to provide on their social media as well, right? Because you make a little snippet, you make them feel real good. You go, hey, why is your restaurant so amazing? Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And you make some social media snippet for them to share on their socials. And now they've advertised you for free to everyone in that town. Way a lot better than a stupid billboard, right?
Hey, that's incredible. Okay, so quick, successful agents talk to you. They're like, yeah, this all sounds great, but not for me because why? Why are most agents that don't take advantage of this, why are they bulking at it?
The two biggest things people have nerves with is one, they don't have time, which can be a thing, especially when summer comes around, because it's when everyone sells houses, spring, summer. And so we're like, great. We've learned to lock it down when you're busy. So then you're going to be busy again in the future, but we handle everything, right? So you fit it into the calendar when you have time. If you have a really busy week, it's not like we have to do the recordings then. You can do lots of recordings over winter or whenever you want to batch them. You got a slow week, record 10 freaking episodes. Then you're done for 2 months. It's like happy days. You don't have to do them in real time. So the busy is a BS excuse. The other is that they don't think they're prepared enough. We even get this when we have guests on our show. They're like, I don't know, I'm so nervous, I don't think I'm prepared. I'm like, we're going to be talking about you and your business. Like, you're the one person in the world that knows this information. I feel like it's fine, relax. And that's basically the same as being a host, is we guide them, we give them a bit of training, but we have a framework for them to follow too. This is how you prepare for a guest. We even help prepare the guest, because that's one of the things our booking coordinator does, is go, here's an intro to say about the guest. There's an intro for the host to use. here's some questions and talking points. You're welcome to, live and do whatever you want. But that helps the guest feel comfortable and, this is the sort of questions I'm going to be asked. And it helps the host feel comfortable that they're asked. But really, look at it. I was a little nervous when you just went, hey, let's go. Hit record. We jumped on this call, like 2 seconds before and you hit record. I wanted to ask you, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about your show and your ideal audience and blah, 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 blah. They're like, hey, whatever. Let's just go. And it's fine. People have stress too much.
They don't. And the illusion too, I think we go, oh, who's your audience? Blah, blah, blah. I'll tailor what I say to that audience. Generally speaking, I find that sounds good in theory, but people talk about what they're going to talk about. You're going to talk about what you like to talk about, how you like to talk about it, right? You might tweak the verbiage a little. If I was like, oh, it's all brand new entrepreneurs or it's all high producers, you
can a little bit, but you're an expert at what you're an expert at. That's for sure. And I mean, and what he was saying too is like, just in case there is anyone that's a new agent listening or a new entrepreneur, if you actually go to our website, which is iconsrealestate.com/framework, you can download our frameworks free, which show you how to run a podcast and how to build a referral network and how to do absolutely everything we do. It is tailored for real estate, but I mean, change real estate and put plumber in and it'd probably work just as good.
I love that. I will put that link in the show notes as well. iconsofrealestate.com/framework. I was checking it out before we jumped on the show. Love it. Great content. I opted in and got access to the five podcast frameworks. You've got the Icons podcast framework, the podcast hosting framework, the podcast guest booking framework, podcast launching essentials, podcast syndication framework, and you even have a button to download all those frameworks at once.
And a video of our head podcast coach going through every one of them. So like you can read them, you can watch the video, you can do both, and it explains absolutely everything we do, and you can do it all yourself.
Love it. Okay, so the power of podcasting is in the opportunity to network, to do. I love podcasting because it is opportunity to do list shares, email list shares. I'm constantly trying to build my email list. I want to serve, but I also do want to generate enough income to pay the bills, things like that. It's important that we. What's that?
That is kind of important.
I know.
Keep the lights on.
Keep the lights on. Exactly. Where was I going with this? So, there's list swap opportunities, things like that. There's ways to leverage each other's lists. So, I provide value to your email list and some of those people will jump onto my list. You provide value to me on my email list. Now some of my people jump on your list. Obviously top of funnel stuff like this with a podcast, opportunities. I'm always looking for opportunities to leverage the relationship to get on other stages. So you mentioned you have a podcast network. You obviously know people with tons of podcasts. So in a second here, I'm going to tell you what I do, and then we'll brainstorm. Hey, any of what I do today, would that serve anybody in your podcast network? And hopefully the answer is yes. So I believe her name's Kris, or no, that's obviously Kris, your person, Thao Tran. Is that your wife? Is that your wife?
It is my one. You got it from the Vietnamese name.
I did. It all came together, and you're like, she's the one that's actually keeping the machine going. I mean, she's the operator. You're like, I'm gonna create a lot of work for you.
That's right. Geez, we had a lot of new clients come in last Friday, and me and Thomas, our head podcast coach, we were like toasting having a glass of wine, and she's like crying out, "Oh my God." Sorry to break it to you, lady. We're good at saying.
Yes. So real quick, how big is your email list these days, or how is that your number one action item? Grow the email list, and then we know as the email list grows, customers will grow, or
It's been fruitful. The vast majority of our clients come through our podcast. Yeah. Okay. Either building our referral network or listen to our podcast. That's where they come in. Yeah. Our newsletter, that does get some, but I think that they've come through our podcast onto our newsletter anyway. So it's the second touch.
So what do you have? A couple hundred people on your newsletter, or a couple thousand, or 100,000, or?
I wouldn't be 100,000. That's not what I do. So I don't. But it's got to be in the thousands.
Yeah.
But we rather try and keep it small too. Like I always say to our marketing guys, is like, who wants 100,000 people that don't give a crap about your emails? It's like, if you got 100 people that actually open it and buy your stuff, like that's what you want, right? Is people that you build relationships with and partners with that buy your stuff and like what you say. It's not about, how many likes and comments and views you get. It's how many relationships and builds you can build.
There's the shiny object metrics that are great. I've got 100,000, followers or whatever, but if it's not, that it serves the ego, but there's a great chance
to take those to Starbucks to buy a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, can Starbucks? That would be great. When the day comes when we can show our follower count and that gets us a cup of coffee, that will be awesome. You said you teach. Do you have guest speakers teach to your?
Very regularly. In fact, we'll talk about that offline, but. Yeah, last month we had Helen Pitchard from the UK. She's like huge in LinkedIn marketing, which LinkedIn is such an untapped field because the interface is so crappy, and everyone's like, "What is this thing anyway?" But man, she makes bank with LinkedIn, and she showed how to not spend money, but how to connect with people, and same stuff, building relationships.
LinkedIn is on fire right now. That's the place to hang out and play if you do it right. Not that I'm gifted at any of the social media, but
it's just because I don't think there's much competition because the interface sucks so bad.
And no one's like excited to say like, I've got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. They want to say I've got 10,000 followers on YouTube or whatever it is, or 100,000 or whatever it is. That's amazing. We talked about two people, Shay Spritz and Avery Carl. Do you have any other most funnest customer success story you'd like to talk about?
I mean, our very, very first one that brought us all to it is our probate attorney. I mean, that's what started us on the podcast journey. What else? I don't deal that much directly with clients, so I don't know that many stories off the top of my head. I'll have to get more from Thomas. Thomas is the guy that deals with all their clients.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I didn't mean to put you on I did mean to put you on the spot, but you gave three great examples. Your probate attorney who gave you that aha moment to roll this way and to create this successful business that you've got. That's affording you and your family to be able to live, what would we call it, the dream life in Spain? I mean, let's be real.
I know a good example of that, right, is when we left Vietnam, because Vietnam's a beautiful country, and your USD goes a really long way in Vietnam. But we wanted to, our kids are getting towards teenagers, and we wanted to have a place where there's more opportunity for them, where in developing countries, there's not really. And that's why we moved to Europe. And my wife, she had 4 restaurants. And, she decided to sell them all before we left because it's really hard to run restaurants overseas. And it blew me away that she was selling restaurants is hard. And she sold all 4 of them, which is fantastic feat. But it's like her income stopped too, which sucks. She had a whole bunch of money in the bank, then I got 0 income. And I'm like, I just take my laptop and work anyway. And that's why I always knew she was good at operations, right? Because running a restaurant is doing the same thing all day, every day, making the same meal 1,000 times, which that bores the crap out of me. And I said, hey, how about you come work with me? And then we can move anywhere, anytime. So I'm super glad you did.
You said yes. That's amazing. What a cool story. How fun to have your partner in life be the operator side of your business. What a cool group you've got. You've got yourself, Tao, or how do I say that? Tao. Cool. And then you've got your other partner. I'm looking over here.
Thomas Fonseca. He is he's a marketing genius and podcast coach. He was the original host of the Icons podcast. He brought on the first few clients. He's built our sales team. He does all of our coaching. He's a wicked smart dude, and we're very, very blessed to have him on the team.
So you're the face of it. He does the marketing. He's the podcast coach, knows the ins and outs of, he's able to transfer that skill set to your clients.
Yeah. So, I guest on podcasts like this to help, build our brand. He is the one that, handles our podcast, our marketing, works with our sales team, trains them. They're not as good as he is, but like he's just very charismatic and really good at building relationships. And that's a lot of what sales is, it's especially not generally the price that's the objection. It's like, if you explain what we do and people like it, they're going to give you money.
Yeah, it's super cool. What would you say of the three? So is there other, is it a business? The three of you share the business together?
Well,
my business?
No, it's we don't split it like that. But
sorry, I'm getting super technical. Could I see your tax returns, please? And is it an S corp? Is it an LLC? No, sorry. I'll stop asking those questions. You're like, you know what? Let's press on. No, that's super cool that you've got yourself, Tao, and what was his name again? And Thomas. So what would you say your skill set is, or what's your main function? That was really what I was trying to get to.
Still, I enjoy sales and marketing myself. Just I get stuck in a bit of the operations as well. Tao's taking on more and more and more and more and more of it, which is great. But we're also building software. I'm a software engineer from way back, so I'm heavily involved in that because I really want to have software to manage everything we do, manage the team, manage the guests, manage the client interface, which it's coming along and it's pretty nice. But we also we're about to launch a part where anyone can create an account, see all the shows that we have, and then apply to be a guest on any one of them. And then you'll speak to our team and they'll bet that you're suitable for those shows and then book you on the client's calendar, which that will help dramatically. And and the same for the clients, so they can book in and see their payment details and how many episodes are there and in the bank and requests to do whatever. But definitely on the management stuff, because the more clients we get, the more bits and wheels and bits there are to turn, and it gets hard to manage with spreadsheets. So have software that reminds you, hey, this needs to be launched today. Did it get launched? And even checking that it's correct.
And automating and systemizing that whole process and having that sounds like a kind of a souped up CRM in effect.
And even bringing on our sales side into that. We use Go High Level for our CRM, but we'll integrate that as well. So that's kind of what I'm working on, which is good fun.
I love it. Quick question: why Go High Level versus ClickFunnels? Or how did you find Go High Level? How'd you get into that ecosystem?
How did we find Go High Level? My headset just changed for some reason. I don't know why. I hope my audio is still okay. I think it's over there now.
I can hear it. It's here.
Why the hell did it just get? My phone must have turned on and under the Bluetooth.
Yeah, right.
All right, is it back to the good one?
No, it's not. Go ahead. Keep talking. It's not yet.
This button and not getting see speakers default.
Here we go.
What a bitch.
maybe slow internet. I'm recording on Descript, and so I think it's got a buffer, so we should be fine.
I find it's when these the ones in the browser, like if I use Google Teams or like sometimes the video just stops and I have to turn it on and back off again.
Yeah, it's interesting, the tech. We're so advanced on one hand, like AI, blah, 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 blah. None of us are going to have jobs soon. But then again, we've got the video won't work.
Video can't just stay on.
Yeah, like my headphones or my mic just disconnected. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So I can't remember what we were going to talk about right
You were asking about CRM. Why go high level over ClickFunnels or anything else?
Yes. Yeah, or how did you even find go high level?
Yeah, so how I actually found go high level, well, any CRM is better than no CRM, right? And the hardest thing is to get sales reps to use CRMs because sales reps are usually good at talking and not good at admin stuff. They really need to keep on their ass. Salesmen are like herding cats. They're annoying. We were actually using HubSpot, and then we hired an AI company for another part of our business to do to generate leads for sale by owners. So it was messaging using SMS and AI to message people that have expired listings. So basically, you pull a list of all of the houses in a certain market where they've expired the listing, and then you message the people and go, "Hey, Johnny, is your house still for sale? Because I can see the listing expired." And the AI bot, and really nicely, generates a conversation and asks some pretty good questions. Like, I've played with it and like said all sorts of stupid stuff, and it keeps trying to bring you back to like the conversation, and then it'll alert a sales rep that, hey, this person's like legit, and like it'll try and book a call with them directly, alerts someone to it. And yeah, so that's how I found that it go high level, and it's a pretty good system.
Yeah, love it. And they do funnels, all that kind of stuff. I know that competition to ClickFunnels. I'm in the ClickFunnels ecosystem, and I hear more and more people talk about how they're on Go High Level, and it's usually referred by an agency of some sort where they can white label Go High Level, or just do direct referral, and their affiliate program and their affiliate system is much better than ClickFunnels, it seems. But
yeah,
that's another conversation for another day, Kris. We're coming up on the time wall. I usually like to keep it at a minute, and we're at 57 minutes and 54 seconds. But whenever the interview is done and I get done with an interview, oftentimes I'm like, oh man, I wished I'd have said, or I meant to talk about, or does anything jump into your head that you want to make sure you get to speak to quick before we call it good?
No, I mean, yeah, like any new entrepreneurs out there, like don't be afraid of failing. Like, I failed my way to success. I think my business is going pretty good and we're growing at a steady rate, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long work road. Like, enjoy the journey, and enjoy the work. I had a long day today. I can hear kids crying in the background. I'm going to have to fight that in a minute. Enjoy it. I get to speak to people like you. I get to enjoy my work, and that's the main thing.
Love it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.